power of Castle Hate Skull. I am Man-bun Man. I mean, hello, Mark Harley. Oh my God, I mixed it up for a second there because I was confused because I have a man bun right now. Not that I'm gonna wear it this entire episode, but I was just thinking to myself, these motherfuckers haven't seen me in a man bun on any of the episodes that I've done. And the next logical thought, obviously, is how you gonna name yourself after a damn gun and have a man bun? If you know, you know. Now it's time to take it off and just let it breathe, okay? That's what we're doing. We're letting the hair down. We're letting it flow. I just wanted to show you guys I am versatile. I can wear a number of hairstyles, pull it off, look cool as fuck, and have other people going, what's his secret? Well, the secret is having gray hair and not caring about looking masculine. That's really what it is. So, I'm here doing the damn thing, and we got a big show planned. I don't know if I'm going to get to everything in here. I have so many things planned, so many exciting little segments, so many exciting things happening to me this week. Ugh, my God. Just wanted to start off by saying, first of all, issue an apology to all the strong guys. Sorry, strong guys who didn't get the sweatshirt, because, yeah, I have the early merch from Chris D'Elia himself. We met up. We squashed the beef. It was just a misunderstanding as far as me thinking he was on steroids. He explained to me that he's only doing SARMs and pro hormones. So I said, my bad, bro. I didn't realize, obviously, looking at you, I think you understand where I'm coming from, making the mistake to assume that you're on copious amounts of anabolic steroids. He said nothing personal. He called off the attack dogs in the comment section and said, yo, chill. This guy's cool. It's all good. You know, I got the merch. As soon as I make some merch for Haters Will Say, I'm going to send it his way. And we can have a tag team photo shoot thing going on. So look out for that in the future. All right. I'm about to tell you what's up with me in a segment I call Supful. This week, I'm going to start off with something a little more serious and dark. My cat has gone missing. Very serious issue for me. Just because it's stressful. I love my cats. I love all of them, have 4 of them. And I, have had cats missing before that have turned up dead. And I have gone to great lengths with my current cats to not allow them to roam freely. And even having, certain protocols in place, like not allowing them outside of the courtyard, keeping them on leashes or harnesses. These things can still happen. So basically what happened was I took them out. I took 3 of them, kept a sick one inside that has FIP, as I mentioned before. And Spider, the male cat, and the oldest out of them, who I found on Franklin Avenue while going for a run, bought him off a homeless guy, brought him back to the crib in 2018, so he's about 3.5 years old. Different cats that I have will try to escape the courtyard in different ways. Spider went out to the front immediately, must have jumped over the front fence while I was looking at my other cat, Vixen, who tries to escape out the back. So it happened within a number of minutes, and by the time that I noticed he was gone, I'll check over the front fence and see where he is, and kind of, they usually just hug the alleyway. Or hug the perimeter of the house. That didn't happen, couldn't find him, immediately expanded the search, and that was on Monday. It's Thursday. That was Monday night. It's Thursday now. You just got to go through the motions, and I'm only bringing this up just to be transparent and real and let you in on my life and not come in and, pretend everything's hunky-dory, even though I think there's obviously a lot of power in doing the things that you normally do. I'm not going to not shoot the podcast. I'm not going to not work out, even though I went to the gym yesterday. And it's always funny how people test you when it's the wrong time to say some shit. Like I walked in and I was actually I hadn't changed my clothes for 2 days, and I just had somebody wanted to work out and I didn't have a change of clothes on me. So I actually went and worked out in a black waffle shirt that I'd been wearing. I'd been wearing this sweatshirt all around in the rain, and just was like, fuck it, I'm going to go do this workout in jeans and a waffle shirt, which I never would normally do. And anyway, the guy at the front's like, where you been, man? I'm like, I'm not going to go into it like, looking for my cat that's probably dead. But it's always just those moments where it's like, I don't want to go into it, but you're just saying the wrong things right now. Like, I missed you, bro. What's happening? Notice you haven't been working out. And then on the way out, like I did a really, not super quick, but let's say it took like 30 or 40 minutes versus my typical hour doing a back workout. But got in as many sets. I was just like supersetting stuff. And then when I come out, he's like, that's it? I'm like, yeah, man. Like, and I just kind of like mocked him like, where you been? You're working out too slow. And he's like, yeah, I'm just holding you accountable. I'm like, thanks. That's what I need right now. No fault of him. It's just one of those like ironic little moments that happens when if somebody, can't read a room. But also I'm not trying to go out there and be like, help me. Oh my God, my cat's missing. I don't want anybody's sympathy. I know people are out there who are probably going to understand the situation because you've had a missing pet. But I'm not out there going, please help me, thoughts and prayers. Like, you do what you got to do. I'm neither optimistic nor pessimistic. You just have to go through the steps of looking for, putting out the flyers and being persistent while also not letting it drive you crazy. I've been through this before, and you stay up all night for days at a time and, go spin your wheels going through the same paths and you end up having like hallucinations. Like you start to see the cat everywhere and hear the cat everywhere. And I'm just trying to not let that happen again because ultimately, you can't do anything if you don't have your mental health. You can't even search for a pet effectively. So it was, I actually this morning wanted to, bring the story to this part, which is I hired a bloodhound handler. She's a pet detective in Los Angeles. Brendan was nice enough to chime in with, I'd just take your money and light it on fire. I appreciate that. Which actually is funny if you have the relationship that we do. I appreciate levity like that in times like these. And I half agree with him. But look, if you're a hater, you can't say that. You can only be, my friend who would actually drive over and help me look if I asked you to. So I did hire this woman. She comes out. She uses trained bloodhounds to like sniff a piece of the, your pet where your pet stays, or a piece of like its blanket or something. You give it the scent, and then it has to smell your other cats. So it came in the apartment, smelled the other cats, and they're like freaking the fuck out because you have to put them in a carrier and let the bloodhounds sniff each one of them to say these are not the ones that you're looking for. You got to look for this scent, and what she ends up doing is providing you like with a map of like, it's not here, but it's over here. And we went over here and they picked up a scent. So did we find the live cat? No. I had to go before I got all the notes to film this podcast, but it just helps you narrow down the search and narrow down like, okay, it could be in this area, if anything. Again, I'm not optimistic. In the sense of like, I'm not deluding myself or attaching myself to any outcome. And I think that's, I wanted to bring this up too, because I think that's an approach that is healthy in a lot of different ways, that you can want to do something and work hard and do everything necessary to that. And whether that's like, a profession or a pet or a relationship or, somebody you're pursuing. I mean, you can do the right things and still know that the healthiest approach is a non-attachment. You can work hard and really, really want that, but not like convince yourself that it has already happened and act entitled or attached or, expect something that you just ultimately have no control over. So just wanted to get the...
What about the psychic?
Oh, and, actually Brendan asked about the psychic, and funny enough, multiple people have brought that up. So when Brendan said that, I was like, you're making a joke, but, multiple people are like, have you considered a psychic? And it's like, I wish I could believe in shit like that. I wish I could believe in, pet psychics and stuff like that. If that's what works for you, if that's going to, help you out, if somebody comes in and is like, spot it, oh yeah, got him right here, he's dead. Okay. That helps you move on, because really you're just looking for closure. I want to know either way. It's tough to lose a pet and not know what happened, right? Because then you're going to be spinning your wheels for the rest of your life, like not knowing what the fuck happened. At some point, you want closure. So, other things that happened to me this week. I wanted to follow up with a guy from last week, Goliath, who I gave a shout out because he gave a shout out to me. He makes amazing glass pipes. He said, quick story. He said, can't thank you enough for the shout out, especially the timing due to old memories from this time last year. Quick storyline. Conor, my son, is nonverbal autistic, will always live with us. He's not my biological son, and it's not my biological son. Within the first year of dating his mom, I made a promise to always take care of them both. His biological father with 2 other kids abandoned Conor and his mom because Conor wasn't a normal kid, which hits home for me. My dad used to beat me 9 ways to Sunday, and in a few weeks marks the 16th anniversary of when he killed my stepmom and shot himself on the phone with me. I felt abandoned myself. With that, now I'm now blessed to have the opportunity to give Conor the best life I can possibly give and be the dad he deserves. I work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for them, and lucky and thankful to have them in my life. So I know that's obviously very dark, but I wanted to read that out because I just think we saw what a positive guy he was before and how you work through things like that. To put my own situation in perspective or anybody's situation, if you've been beaten and abused and somebody committed suicide on the phone with you, and you can work through all that to get to a place where you're happy, positive, optimistic, have a healthy relationship and make money doing something you love. That's incredible, and it takes away a lot of excuses I know that I can make for myself, and I'm sure maybe you do too. Final thing I wanted to say was I went on the Stevie Weeby show. Didn't really know what to expect. Hadn't watched an episode. Quickly watched the episode with a little browse and realized, man, this guy, Stevie, who I had only talked to once briefly in the green room at the Ha Ha Cafe Comedy Club, has such an extensive knowledge on music and is a really smart, interesting guy. We mainly talked about, we did talk about wrestling, which we have in common because I guess he was a big 103 pounder down in San Diego, so we had fun talking about amateur wrestling, but most of the time he was grilling me about fitness stuff. And if you want to hear me talk in depth for an hour straight just about fitness stuff, or 90% just about fitness stuff, you could go check out that episode because he's grilling me on a lot of the basics. And I think that sometimes this is an example of a reason I started this podcast was I started to realize more and more that people are like him, that they don't know that, there's the same amount of calories in a Snapple that there is in a Coke, et cetera. And, that you can get sugar-free options, that you can, he wants to get lean and just seem to have really no idea how to go about that. But that's more common than I realized. And so I kind of tried to break it down, many different questions that he had in simple, straightforward terms. That are easy to digest, but it seemingly people enjoyed the conversation and got something out of it. And, I usually try to segment all the things that I talk about in the show, but that was kind of an hour long of just me going into, the basics. So check it out. All right, boy, oh boy. We have a special hater of the week this week. When Chris D'Elia posted my clip from last week, it was interesting reading through the comments and seeing that many people either didn't get it, as I said, or did get it, or, and one person who chimed in was former WWE wrestler. I actually didn't know who this person was. I'd never heard his name and didn't know who he was. Kevin Nash, but I saw that he had a blue check, and he chimed in to say, do they make that wig in women's? And I was like, I didn't have any idea who he was. I clicked at his page, saw that he had really small calves, and said something back like, hey, Kevin, I used to think I had the skinniest calves in the world. Thank you for proving me wrong. Appreciate it, bro. And he said something back like, there we go. Some nice, tiny little legs that he's got going on. I guess he's 6'10", but, still, I just wouldn't be talking shit on the internet as a 63-year-old man if I looked like him. Now, I'm not here to roast Kevin, although there's a lot to roast about him. I think the irony for me, or the lesson, as every hater of the week, it's not just about who hates me the most, or, who is the harshest, or whatever. I always try to do these with a lesson. And often I will say, nobody's hating on you who's doing less than you or less successful, or kind of make these examples of people who have no followers or they're talking about my views and they're posting videos and have no views. There's always some sort of irony or some sort of they're punching up at you. And rarely do you meet people who are really successful at what they do who also talk shit. But because this guy's obviously had a storied career in professional wrestling, but when I look at his pictures, I'm like, oh, this dude's like he looks like a balding grandpa. He sort of looks like, Sons of Santa Archie. If you look at his younger pictures, right, because he's got like thinning gray hair now, and I go, why is this guy like coming after me about a wig? Then you look at his younger pics. Can we throw that up on the screen? Oh my God, he looks like my doppelganger. He looks like my doppelganger, except a little chubbier and uglier. Let's be real. So this is a dude talking about a wig when he has highlighted wavy blonde hair in the 90s. Ironic, right? So this is that lesson of like, obviously he's done a lot in his life, but he's looking back at me and going like, this dude has what I used to have, right? So in some way, I guess that's a threat to you, because the irony of the guy with this exact hair making fun of my hair as if I have women's hair, and that's something to mock, is just like, oh, it's delicious. I just want to eat the irony up with a fucking spoon. Kevin Nash, the lack of self-awareness you're displaying with a comment like that, because other people will come on and say like, wig, 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 wig. It's one of the most cliched insults I get online, along with like Botox and lip fillers. And it's like, oh, but it's not a wig. It's not Botox. It's not. So what does that say about you? You're like, your hair is too amazing to be real. Okay, but coming from a guy who used to basically have the exact same length of hair and hairstyle, ooh, you just gotta love it. Now, he went back and forth with me a little bit, like when I was like, oh, you have the skinniest calves in the world. He was like, they've been taking me to the bank for 35 years. And I was like, oh, he's defensive too, because notice how I didn't say like, my hair's been taking me to the bank for every commercial I book. Like, I make money off the way I look, but I'm not gonna be like, well, you can't say it's a wig because that's what I make money with. He can give a joke, but he can't take it. And I swear to God, if I'm 63 years old, talking shit to younger guys on the internet, sneak up behind me with a fucking rifle and just kill me. It put me out of my misery, because I just can't imagine the unhappiness I would be experiencing if I had to go online to shit on strangers to feel good about myself when I'm a senior citizen. I just take my fucking phone away from me and throw it in the lake. I do want to say, though, he's had an obviously very impressive career. He had several different ring names: Chet Lemon, Diesel, Dr. X, Great Oz, Master Blaster Steel. Why do all these sound like gay porn aliases? I guess he had a 350-day WWF championship reign, which was the longest streak in the 90s, and also his lifelong streak of never having been in an actual fight is the longest in history. So congratulations, Kevin Nash. Your hater of the week, you earned it. You taught everybody a lesson today about hating and irony and jealousy, and gave us that angle of like, ooh, you've done something, but man, you're mad about something, aren't you? You're mad about what you don't have anymore. Thank you very much. Now, speaking of fighting old men, our saucy or not for this week is Conor McGregor. Can we bring a picture up of him? This has been circulating around on the internet. Conor McGregor has put on some weight and caused some speculation about whether or not he's still natural. So, yes, Conor McGregor, here we go. He's he's looking more and more like a bloated potato every day. He's still got the mindset of a champion. It's just now he's got the face of a retired alcoholic. So, got a question for you. What does this current bulk and him grabbing the fence during his Khabib fight have in common? They're both dirty as fuck. He changed his name from the Notorious to the Dianabol King of Dublin. He looks like someone told him steroids won't work if he does cardio. People used to criticize him for gassing out in the third round, but now he's going to gas out on the walk to the octagon. Oof. So, when his wife tried to put a salad in front of him, he said, "Who the fuck is that guy?" Got him. But this is a pretty good example of what happens when you're on too much proper 12 milligrams of Dianabol every 6 hours. He says he's eating 6 meals a day and that now he's up to 195 grams of processed carbs per meal. Booyah! He says he wants to move like a lightweight, hit like a middleweight, and have the face of a guy who can't make heavyweight. Ooh! So, what do we all know him for? Last year he got into hot water by punching an old man for refusing to drink his whiskey. Now he looks like an old man who just got out of some hot water because security came when he refused to stop drinking whiskey in the hotel jacuzzi. So I guess he put on 35 pounds, since he weighed in against Poirier. He's up to 190 now. Now, I don't doubt he put on 35 pounds. I just question whether any of it went somewhere besides his face. So, in all seriousness, I wish Conor the best of luck in his next fight. And if you're watching this, Conor, break a leg. Now, hold on. All right. So, in all seriousness, I'm going to do a little bit more on Conor. When somebody looks like that, do I think he's on steroids? I don't know. I doubt it, just given the USADA, testing pool that he's in. But he has all the attributes of somebody who looks like somebody who's doing like a DECA D-ball cycle. He looks puffy. He looks like he's gained a lot of weight and lost definition, and specifically in his face. Because one of the things that happens when you do steroids and also eat in a huge caloric deficit is your face gets puffy and you sort of look drastically different. So is it possible? Yeah, it is. It's just like, would he risk that? Who knows? He wants to go up to 170 pounds to get his third belt because apparently the first two ran out of notches. No, so is he on steroids or not? I don't know. There's so many things that are out there that are detectable. It's just that, now he could be on a designer steroid that is totally undetectable by the most modern advanced testing, but totally obvious to the most casual observer. That could be a thing, but I don't know if he'd risk it. So, the verdict is he looks saucy, but I doubt he is. You know what time it is, everybody? We got time for another This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Gyms, where we take a look at all the people doing ridiculous things in the gym. Today, we have this video that I found, which is a guy stacking his legs up, doing a wall sit with like 20 plates. And let me just tell you why I hate shit like this. Because first of all, it's doing nothing. If you notice, where is all the weight sitting? It's all on top of his knees. So the manner in which he's loaded these weights to make it seem as if it's impressive, to an astute observer, you'll see that it actually doesn't do anything. The only exercise he's doing right now, or the only challenge, is to his tibia and fibia, because he's basically stacking the weight, such a way that the center of gravity of the weight is directly over his shins. So the only thing supporting the weight is not his quads, which if he had a weight closer to his stomach, would actually provide leverage to try to get his legs to bend the other direction and force him to sit down. But he's doing a wall sit with everything just stacked on top of his bones. So you're doing nothing. Second of all, what a fucking asshole to take 20 plates from around the gym and then also make it seem like they're all 45s because you're using like the black bumper plates, to make it seem like it's, 1,000 pounds when it's probably like, 400 or something like that, because you could see some of them are 45, some of them are probably 10s, but he's obviously not getting the small 10 plates. He's getting literally over 20 plates, getting somebody else who has to stack them on top of him and trying to make this look impressive. And I just have to say, it's one of the least impressive things that you can do. And it reminds me of all these other gym fail videos that we watch where like somebody's using all the plates in the gym to do something, like whether it's a partial squat, or, you're using the 100-pound dumbbells, or you're just you're taking the other equipment and putting it all on you and then incorporating other people to help you for something that's totally worthless as a workout. Why don't you just do a squat? Why don't you do a regular wall sit for 2 minutes? Because that's going to be tough. It's going to be actually just as tough as this. Maybe it's going to be a little easier to breathe because you don't have all these plates in front of your face. But at the end of the day, it's just stupid, desperate, attention-seeking behavior that actually takes weights away from people who are trying to work out legitimately. And you're doing nothing. You're faking a lift, essentially. And it's pathetic. So to contrast this stupidity, I saw this video on World Star and just thought I have to highlight this today because it's also a lesson of there's no excuses. People always talk, well, I don't have access to a gym. Well, you can do a lot in your home just with your body weight. If you have a pull-up bar, some of these basic equipment, even with nothing, you can do so much. This dude, I think he's the same guy who was making stuff outside, like he's like really good at basketball too. Is that the same dude? But he's obviously just super handy with wood and all that. So here he is making these homemade cement plates on a wooden bench that he crafted himself and loading them up. Now it looks like, 45s and 35s, who knows what it actually weighs, but it doesn't really matter because all it matters is that it's appropriate resistance for the stuff that he's doing, and the size of the dumbbells and barbells don't interfere with his range of motion. So I just think that's super impressive and goes to show you, I remember this coach I had growing up was like, your body doesn't care if you're lifting weights or rocks, and you'll actually see footage of Khabib Nurmagomedov out in the mountains of Dagestan, literally lifting rocks over their head as they're doing hill sprints and all this stuff, and your body doesn't care. So just remember that. You can literally lift anything. In prison, they do like, stacks of magazines, you fill plastic bags up with water, you put your homie on your back after you butt fuck them and do lunges. So it's really no excuses. Anything can be resistance, and if you think you don't have any equipment, you're probably just not being creative enough, and you're probably not being open-minded enough, and you think that you need a gym. But that's just not the case, because look at this dude. He's Amish and still getting yoked. Dope. For this week's Hella Sick Fitness Pages, I want to highlight a guy. His name's Alex Leonidas, and his YouTube channel is Alpha Destiny. Now, this dude I've been watching for a while, and he just is like really passionate about weightlifting, very intelligent, and has developed a lot of strength himself, and to me isn't dogmatic. Like, he's always trying new things and saying, I've been trying this, combination, like I've been pairing, standing press with a bunch of pull-ups, or I've been working on this. He'll specialize for a while and kind of report back his findings. And most recently, I thought this was really interesting, since people are typically asking me like how to get big and then how to get ripped. How to get big, how to get ripped, right? Those are probably the two main questions you're going to ask if you are a guy. You either want to bulk up and get as muscular and strong as possible, or you want to get really lean. This guy has done both of these things back to back within the past year. And the first one, so we see the pictures now that we're scrolling through, he's really ripped, right? Now he's a shorter guy, so I think in these pics he's like 145, right? And you can see he's got a lot of ab definition. He's natural, by the way. Not that he looks like too huge to be natural, but I think it's well noted that he takes pride in that, and he's accomplished the strength feats that I'm about to talk about without the use of anabolic steroids, according to him, and I do actually believe him. But what you'll notice is, like, he did this cut over the course of like 6 months, I believe, to get from 185 down to 145, and so a lot of people will be like, what do I need to do to get ripped? I'm not losing that last bit of fat. I'm not. And actually, Greg O'Gallagher from Kino Body talked about this week that there's no such thing as stubborn body fat. It's like, you just have to get leaner. You just have to lose more weight. At 185, you can actually see this guy has abs. If we scroll down a little bit farther, and you'll see maybe some of his strength feats, because this dude actually benched 405 at 185 pounds, and he can't be taller than, like, yeah, there we go. The one in the red shirt. There we go. If you click on that, we'll see him. He's not fat in this pic, Oh, no, that's 300 pounds with bands. The one in the blue shirt, that's it. One more, yeah. Yes. So this is, he's a strong-ass dude, and so he worked up to this. But you can see, like, he's thick, but it's not like he's fat, right? So at 185 pounds, he's pulling off a legit 405-pound bench with no bench shirt. He's just got on some elbow sleeves, not even wraps. Doesn't look fat. I don't know what the exact body fat percentage is, but, you probably see a visible top couple abs. To get down to a place where he's actually ripped and you can see a six-pack, that's 40 pounds of difference, okay? So a lot of people ask me, or they'll be at a certain weight and be disappointed that they're not getting ripped sooner, or that they're not seeing results fast enough. But the truth is, even for a small guy, it can be 20, 30, 40 pounds of fat loss before you actually get down to a point where you're super ripped. And the last thing I'll say is, he also reports honestly on what it's like to be ripped. If you get down to 8% body fat, you know what? It's really tough, physically and psychologically, because you can't just reduce your calories forever, right? You can't stay in a deficit forever and still feel good. It fucks with you. If you're a natural, it fucks with your testosterone. You have a lot of hunger cravings. You kind of generally feel like shit. It interferes with your sleep because your body's like, hey man, you're not feeding me. Like I need to get up and go hunt. Because our caveman brain is still in that mode of thinking that like something's drastically wrong if you're not getting enough food, and we need to be hyper vigilant and get up and do something about it. So it can be very stressful to get down to such low body fat percentages, more so as natural, but even if you're enhanced, it's still very difficult. So when you're looking at a fitness influencer who's super ripped and think, I want that body, sure, go for that. But part of that equation is, they might only be looking like that part of the year and then posting pictures. Like typically they will get really ripped and take a bunch of pictures and then post that throughout the year. So they don't even look how they look, in this camera, even before editing. They don't look even within 15 pounds of how they look. But then secondly, it's just not a fun place to live. So just be warned about that when you see physiques that look really great. But other than that, I just think he's a really honest guy. He's great at, every time I watch his video, one of his videos, like I get pumped to do the thing that he's talking about, and he's a really big proponent of the basics and getting strong at, like, there's another video up there where he's doing a weighted pull-up for, 180 pounds around his waist at the very top there, actually. He's got 4 plates around his waist, and he's doing a chin-up with it. So I don't know if you've ever done a weighted pull-up, but that is a lot of fucking weight. I can rep with like a plate around my waist, but you want to get a big lats and a big back, like weighted pull-ups are the way to go. You don't really need much else. So just a great example. Go check out his page if you want great workout ideas and you want to get pumped up, okay? And you want to get jacked, but you also want to know the reality of what it's like to have dangerously low body fat. Yes, we're going to have another learning portion of the podcast where I teach you about stuff that has to do with lifting and getting jacked AF. In this week's Mark Harley's Academy of Bro Science, we are going to talk about progressive overload. Now, this is a principle that I think gets thrown around a lot, but many people don't kind of understand what it is at its core. When we think of progressing in the weight room, we often think of adding more weight. And of course, you can't do that infinitely. You can't just keep putting on weight. You can maybe when you're a noob and you're stepping in the gym for the first few months or first year or whatever, you can probably add weight every time because your nervous system alone is adapting so quickly to the weights that you're doing if you've never trained seriously before. However, that is going to plateau. Even if you're enhanced, at some point it's going to plateau. Now, how do you push past those plateaus? What are the things outside of purely looking at how much weight is on the bar that you can sort of measure? And what that is, and I was watching a great video on this that kind of just was a reminder of like progressive overload means many things. First of all, more reps, right? Secondly, more sets. Thirdly, less rest. Fourthly, higher intensity if you're not going to failure and then you do go to failure, right? And we're talking about, when I say sets, I'm not counting warm-up sets. I'm talking about actual quality sets where you're exerting yourself to, if not absolute failure, within 1 to 2, maybe 3 reps of failure. I would consider a quality set with good form where you have a mind-muscle connection and you're actually exerting yourself. So you can increase those sets, increase the frequency of how often you're working a muscle group, right? So if you're only working your chest once a week, well, you can progressively overload via frequency and do it twice or 3 times or even 4 times. I wouldn't recommend doing your entire body 4 days a week per se if you're doing a higher volume, but like you can be on a higher volume program and still, maybe focus on one muscle group at a time that you do almost every day, or like, to build up your shoulders. Your shoulders are an example of something, your medial delts at least, that can handle quite a high volume. And that's sort of a separate lesson too that I'll go into at another time, the minimum effective volume or number of sets that you can do per muscle group, because it does differ actually each muscle group, and the maximum number of recoverable sets that you can do in a week, which is, it's only an average. It's sort of vague. It's going to be different for each person, but we'll get into that another time. So I just want you to think about, if you're stalled out or you're doing the same 3 sets of 10 or you're doing the same workouts, you can find one of those ways, right? less rest, more work in the week, higher weight, or, for example, switching your form up. Something that I've been doing for my back workouts lately is actually reducing the amount of weight that I use because I've been having issues with my back, and you can't necessarily, because you're using your lower back to support what you're doing. What I'll do is drop the weight by like 20% and focus on a peak contraction, right? I was doing lat pull downs and rows yesterday, and I found I could use about 20% less weight or even more. If you're on a pull down and you hold that position for a 1 count, right? If you're doing a pull up and you hold that top position for a 1 or 2 count, the number of reps that you have to do to, get the same fatigue that you do, not stopping there, it goes down drastically. So it's great for something if you're injured or, something else is preventing you from lifting as heavy as you normally do. You pause in the most difficult parts of the range of motion, like when you're benching, maybe pause right above your chest. And that way, if you're stuck as far as plateauing on the actual weight that you can do maximally, you can't push past that, then spend some more time in the most difficult part of the range of motion. I'm not necessarily saying go slow for everything, but you can pause and then still go explosive and come back, right? I'll explode into that back movement and hold it right there and then let it go. So I just like thinking in terms of progressive overload. We're talking about work. We're talking about stress. What's going to stress your muscles more? And that can be achieved in a number of ways. There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to be a jacked motherfucker. We haven't done Hey That Hurts in a while. Now, a lot of you may not know this, I realize, because even some of my friends didn't know, but the first couple Hey That Hurts I did, it was me writing the jokes about myself. Why? Because my haters aren't clever enough to come up with stuff, right? Now, I recently posted a couple headshots that I did. Shout out Laura Burke Photography. And the point of headshots is like you always want to look like a character that you might play. So I posted these. The first one on my page is me in a suit and a shirt with no tie, sort of giving a wry little half smile to the camera. There we go. And my caption is, haters will say you won't comment below with what the guy in this picture does for a living, with wrong answers only. Now, some of these actually were really accurate. There's so much, I got like 390 comments on this one, which is really fun. A lot of them were super funny. Now, I'm just going to preface this by saying, the reason that I'm reading these out is it's actually incredible to me how much more clever my actual followers are versus my haters, my supportive followers versus you could still be following me and be a hater, but the jokes that you guys came up with and the shit that you typed out, it's like so much more funny. And it just goes to show you that when you don't actually have animosity towards someone, you can be so much more creative, I think, versus I know somebody comes at me and even though sometimes the lines do get blurred. When a hater's coming at me, it's like, ooh, you have this animosity. And I can tell because what you're saying just isn't funny. And it's repetitive. It's almost like ideology versus creativity, you don't meet a lot of super creative racists, for example, because it's ideology. They learn the ideology from somebody else and they have to come at you and say the same exact phrases and words and ideas, because if they were open-minded about it, it didn't have this weird animosity towards that racial or ethnic group or whatever, and they thought for themselves, they wouldn't be racist in the first place. So I'm not saying if you hate me, you're racist, but it's a similar thought pattern. Maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe you don't like tan white guys. So a lot of these just tickled me so much. Let's read some of them. Sells butt implants. Facts. Hella Mark Austin is an American pastor, televangelist, and author of bestseller Shake My Fucking Head. Goes door to door selling essential oils to the UFC gyms. May steal your girl, may steal your car. Let's see. Female body inspector. Motivational speaker with the famous tagline, respect the cock. Shout out Magnolia and Tom Cruise. Marketing director for Paul Mitchell, the lead singer for 80s rock band Winger. 100,000% is the top leader in Vampire Diaries. Role plays with little kids on film. Hey, that hurts. Was the inspiration for the lion from Madagascar. This guy sells teeth whitening products and also fucked my girl once. She came back with fresh breath and a big smile, so he's good in my books. Oh, and his name is Chet or Danny or something. You look like the guy who makes sure all the dudes are putting their buttholes on the air jets properly in the swimming pool. Dick-sucking cheeks. A professional sick-ass fool. That is accurate. This motherfucker sold me a hot tub. Rodent exterminator. He studs at a lion breeding ranch for gay lions. Accurate AF. He does magic for animals only. Kevin Dillon's cousin. Wow, did you write that one?
I did not.
Clearly you're who the character Zohan was based off, and your work at Paul Mitchell's salon during the men's hair and 80s styles only. Definitely feel like you're about to give me either legal or financial advice. A magician with a couple of girthy tigers. Host the Lovers Will Say podcast. That is wrong. I recognize this photo from a Grindr commercial. Hurtful. Let's see here. Deuce Bigelow, Hella Mark Harley the Gigolo. A star buffer for gay porno. What do I do for a living? Your girl. He does all your girls for a living. Oh, I thank you. Let's see. Teaches classes on how to become a Harlequin romance cover model. Looks like you're going to grant me a wish in exchange for my soul. Because I'm the devil. Let's see. Tennis coach in Malibu. This dude works at Jiffy Lube. This guy who sells me a car when he doesn't work for the dealership. Let's see. Professional swinger party attendee. Haters will say he's a real Kevin Nash tribute act. And we'll bring it back with that. I'm going to look at this other one real quick too. This guy's an avocado farmer who raises gerbils in his free time. Def stops at yellow lights for a living. This guy curls in the squat rack. Connor's new movement coach. Playing grab ass in the park. You used Faced app to make yourself look older here. Stick to the young dad roles. Grandpa doesn't suit you. Wow. Let's see. Sexual financial advisor. Tells people what sexual positions to invest in. VD awareness billboard model. This guy wears sleeveless sweatshirts under his jackets but keeps it a secret. Sells vials of DNA on a corner on the Lower East Side. Once a Pentecostal woman who has made the switch and is running the biggest megachurch in the world, known specifically for wearing shorts that expose his new dick root and speaking in tongues with Joel Osteen. Is that a Justin Bieber reference? Will bone your mother while teaching your father how to build the physique that your mother is looking for in the first place. Saving marriages. That's right. Let's see. Sells used golf cart batteries to English-speaking Latinos. Yoga studio in the metaverse. A human dire wolf. Kevin Nash calf double. Professional drop shipper who works 100% of the time out of your local coffee shop. Drives an Audi that constantly needs repairs. Has his own masterclass that you can buy online, and is obsessed with 10xing. I love the creativity there. The originality and creativity. You guys are so smart and funny. Unlike my haters. Is the one guy that successfully contacts you about your car's extended warranty. I like that. Breeds and trains centaurs. He's the second last samurai. Life coach Tony Throbbins. All right, we can end there. Good job, people. I'm going to start doing that more often because the shit you come up with was legitimately impressive. And I'm proud of each and every one of you who left a comment. All right, I wanted to introduce a new segment called Teak the Zeke, where I'm going to critique your physique. Now, I didn't specifically give a call for people to send in their physiques to be critiqued, but what I did was say, if you're buff, you can sit right here next to me and do a show in a matching outfit as you stay silent. The first person to submit a picture was a dude named Caleb Kreider. And he said, seat me up, bra. I'm trying to assault the protein shake and a 1/4-inch spaghetti strap tank top on your show. No training bra necessary. So I'm looking at this dude. Let me just give a shout out to, okay, he looks natural, first of all. Could be wrong. But what a physique my man's got, right? Big old chest, broad shoulders, lean enough that you can see his abs. Got a lot of symmetry going on, right? His arms, he looks like a young guy. I didn't ask how old he was, but, this is a good aesthetic, natural physique, right? This is a kind of leanness where you go, this guy isn't killing himself to be 8%, but like you can show up to the beach, take your shirt off, and surprise some motherfuckers. Drop some panties. Get some pussies wet, if you catch my meaning. Caleb, I want to congratulate you on having a fantastic physique. Your arms are pretty well developed, good shoulders, and, you just got that genetic gift of kind of looking like a Steve Reeves type, with the big square chest and small waist. You got a lot to work with. And, let's check out the back too. Look at that. If we scroll down a little bit, there we go. Some nice trap development, good shoulders, good triceps. Again, this is what, when you're nice and lean, things pop out more. And then we're going to go up to that lat spread. If you scroll up a little bit, there we go. Not bad, right? Good proportions. And again, very achievable physique. He's got some good muscle. He doesn't have a lot of body fat, nothing too crazy or extreme. And I guarantee this is the kind of physique that girls are into, because if you're ever thinking about doing steroids because you're going to get girls from it, wrong answer. They don't give a shit. They just like guys, who have regular, nice bodies. You're doing steroids for the guys. Be honest with yourself. All right, next segment. Next up, we got a lot of people been asking me. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, hey, can I come work on your show? And that's cool and everything. He did it in this guy, Jaden, I've been talking to a little bit. He did it in a respectful way. He said, haters will say you won't give me an opportunity to change my life. And I said, hold that L, haters, not knowing actually what he was asking about. He said, packing my bags now. Now, for real, where are the applications to be like a sound guy for you or something? Because my only option is enlisting. I said, I understand you want to better your life and don't doubt you'll work very hard for that. I would try to think of, oh, wait, I'm reading this out of order. Okay. Basically, I'll just summarize this. He was like, let me come work as a sound guy. I'm like, do you have any experience in sound? He's like, no, and I'm like, okay, let's just examine that real quick. Also, like, I'm not hiring these people, I'm working in a studio and I'm not making these direct hiring decisions, but also I just try to explain to him, because he's an 18-year-old kid, it turns out. Usually it's not how it works, is you don't go like, I'll do anything. It's like, well, we already have all the positions filled with people who know how to do stuff that they're being asked to do. There's not a lot of great time to like figure it out on the job. Maybe that happens sometimes, but certainly not in Los Angeles. So basically I was like, do you have any passions? Like he described to me wanting to, he's like, either I want to do, like, if I don't get out, I'm going to have to enlist. And my brother's raising the rent on me, and it's just kind of like trying to force him out of the, I think it's a stepbrother actually. He just kind of described like a difficult situation at home, and now that he's 18, I think he's kind of like being forced out, and he's like, I might have to enlist unless I do something else. I'm like, well, enlisting might not be the worst thing in the world, because people look at you like people who have come out of the military, and it's very impressive to a lot of people because you learn certain skills that you don't otherwise learn even in regular jobs, and especially not in college. So if that's an option, it's not a bad option. Now, he went on to tell me, I said, do you have any specific passions now? You trying to still figure that out? He said, fitness is my only passion. It helped me get out of a lot of places and give me some self-worth. If I were to enlist, I was going for a 68 Fox, which is a great physical therapist, or which is a physical therapist, then getting out and trying to get hired as a sports physician in sports medicine and create my own business and lead into the social world, such as podcast programs and getting my personal training. I think he meant certification. I said, that kind of sounds like a dope plan, no? I said, how old are you? Where do you live? He said, 18, North Carolina. I said, I think if your passion is fitness, it could be a very good idea to follow that plan. There's a lot of money to be made in the fitness world if you have a high level of expertise and a passion for what you do. And if you have other interests, I would also encourage you to at least try an online class or tutorials on YouTube. It's an amazing time to teach yourself things and explore new passions. So that just kind of summarizes my approach to anybody who's that age, right? I'm not going to tell everybody to follow their passions if that doesn't make sense for you. If you have a wife and kids and, you're making money as working for a corporation, like, don't give all that up to be a painter because you have responsibilities and you're 50 years old. Maybe still do it if that's really what's going to make you happy and you don't give a fuck about your family. But, when you're 18, the world is your oyster. And there's so much available online these days, like just, getting a YouTube premium account. Think about all the things that you can learn how to do. Google now offers, certifications that you can learn how to like code and be a graphic designer and user experience designer in all these, it's a free class that allow you to make $100 an hour working for Google if you pass the certification. So when you're that age and in 2021, there are so many opportunities for you to learn and teach yourself online. But ultimately it comes down to like, what are you passionate about? And if it's fitness, that's great. Now, if you don't mind scrolling down a little bit to his pictures, he sent me these pics. And I said, damn, for an 18-year-old, like, you've got a great physique, right? You're already muscular and ripped and good looking. And, you know, guess what? People are going to flock to you. If fitness is your passion and you also look the part and you've been able to make that, physique naturally, then people are going to come to you and want to know exactly how you did that. So you look the part, you have a passion with it. I would say at least explore that, because you're also going to learn a lot, just pursuing whatever, training, expertise. These are things that will serve you for the rest of your life. Specifically, if you learn how to work out and can show other people, and then you're just going to learn people skills, business skills, all that stuff. And in addition to going to the military, that could be a pretty sweet idea, So to me, that's a recipe for, if you're 18, that's a damn good option. Certainly don't move out to Hollywood to become my sound guy when I don't fucking need you, but you've got a good plan already. So shout out to Jaden. You're on the right path. If you're 18 or young and reading this, ask yourself, what am I really into? Because if you're doing something, like I said, like, you could learn how to code and get money, but if you don't like coding, guess what? You're going to end up wanting to kill yourself after a few months. Okay. You got to follow your passions, because otherwise it's just never going to be worth it. And no amount of money is going to be a good enough incentive for you to hate your life every single day. Okay. So be like Jaden. All right. Thanks for watching or listening to this entire episode. If you've made it this far, I sincerely appreciate all the views, all the listens, and also just the community that we've created of support and positivity, because even when I'm getting roasted by you guys on my pictures, it just really brightens my day to have, friends with a sense of humor who can roast me and make me laugh in times like these, even when I'm going through something dark. And, I just hope that I can provide a little something for you too, if you're going through a dark time. Now, if you haven't liked the video, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't hit the notification bell, please do that. Please pass it on to a friend. That'll be my Christmas gift this year, all right? Pass it on to a friend. And also, check me out on CB Weeby's podcast. Check me out on Chappelle's World, which will have already dropped by the time I release this episode. And also, just check out this physique one more time, okay? We're just doing it right here, because even in the darkest of times with a cat missing, okay, even when the rest of my world is going to shit, I will still get up in front of you and show you that I haven't quit working out yet. So are you gonna fucking quit? Are you gonna say, oh my God, well, I didn't get enough sleep last night, so I can't go to the gym? Or are you gonna be like me and say, it doesn't matter if my mom died tomorrow, I would still hit the fucking gym, all right? I'm here to go nuts in front of you, because I am nuts about fitness, okay? And if you don't want life to put its nuts in your mouth, then get to the fucking gym today, all right?